Man, if the timestamp don't say that I love you, the timestamp don't say that I love you. Okay, hi, we are back for another week of forecast. So we're gonna actually be using TradingView as a template. I can't remember. I think yeah. We're gonna use the usual. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna simply go over what I have planned for the week in hopes that this is maybe the strategy that you'll be looking to use. Still looking to use support and resistance as my kind of main bases, or support and resistance and a retest as like my get in entry, but support and resistance ultimately is what I'll be using to dictate whether or not I'll be using those to get into a position or not. So simply, we are just going to be starting with the the AU on the weekly. Starting on the weekly because we are starting simply a new week. I found it really interesting this week that over kind of going over everything, starting with the weekly, that I was kind of finding some really good places. So you will notice in some of the notes that I've kind of already put in place to make the video go a little bit quicker. I have already set up some things in place for this coming week for almost all of them. There are a couple that I wasn't able to quite touch, but I did look at, but I didn't really make any notes, and that was probably because of some type of indecision or a little bit of confusion or consolidation, that sort of thing on the market. So I just want to go over a couple of things with you that I've started. So as you can kind of see, market is black. I have it in dark. You can see this here. This is what I've just recently put on here, but that's because I did see some type of commonality. It looks like somewhat of a double top here to some extent, but maybe not quite as. I mean, the neck is definitely here, so we could definitely consider this to probably be some type of double top. This is on the weekly. So I used the weekly because, again, we are starting a fresh week and I just wanted to get an overall view of what's happening. So let's go to the daily. So breaking it down, coming to the daily, I was able to notice that price was kind of rejecting here at about actually a bank level right here at the 70,000 or point, some people say it is like 0.7 area. So with it kind of rejecting here, essentially what we're waiting on is to see what price is going to do. We did see the price kind of closed out here with a rejection to the downside. So we'll look to see nothing really confirmed. And I'll take this little mark off of here for that one. But nothing really confirmed for AU just yet. We are going to have to wait to see exactly what price is going to want to do once it kind of gets up into this area, see if it kind of bounces back and forth, see if we get some kind of consolidation, or if price is going to break through. Now, price tried to break through, what's it, 1, 2, 3, almost 4, 5, 4, well, we'll say 4 times. We'll say about 4 times in completion of like 1, 2, and 3, 4, or 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 sitting kind of right here. So until price shows me that it's going to be either moving upward, again, this is on the daily, so the daily is going to be a little bit slower moving. You're not going to see as much of a return if you're using the daily or deciding to trade on the daily. It's going to take a little bit longer in comparison to like a scalp. But if you are using the daily and you're going for some of those longer profits, we are going to be waiting. I'm still waiting, and that's why I put this mark right here, because it looks like price did reject right here. So we're just going to wait to see exactly what happens when price gets to here, because it looks like it has, again, previously rejected it here. So don't really quite have a decision on it. Let's go down to the 4-hour and see what's going on. Again, my goal is to simply help you. Look at the market in a way that is helpful for you so that you can profit throughout the week. If you are a scalper, maybe not my strategy is probably the best for you, but if you're doing some type of intraday or day trading, this is probably the better bet for you. Maybe I will in the future have some options for some scalping options. in the future. So in regard to the market, so let's see. Again, we've seen some rejection here, which looks like it rejected on February the 9th. We rejected again, still in February. Looks like we got another rejection. Same thing, February, Valentine's Day. We got another rejection that kind of poked through. And prices just looks like it may not hold here, and we may see something toward the downside. Should we see something toward the downside, I'll be waiting for the break to get below here, a break, a close, and probably even a retest if you're not, or excuse me, if you are looking for a less aggressive option. If you're looking for something a little more aggressive, you may just want to wait for the break and just keep moving, because sometimes ultimately the market does not always go back for a retest. So that's something to always keep in mind. Granted, if I am not going to see a retest, this will probably be take profit 1, be looking at take profit 2, and I'm looking back here at previous price action, take profit 1, take profit 2, possibly take profit 3 up in here. Mind you, again, this is on the 4 hour, so it's a little bit longer of a time frame. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see what we got. So even on the 1 hour, I may be looking at, let's see, looks like maybe I'll be looking to see exactly what happens here on price on the 1 hour when it gets to this point. Once it gets to this point, then we can kind of go ahead and move forward, looking at the higher time frames to see exactly what is the best option. So let's scoot on over to EU. EU looks like, let's see, I don't have a mark on EU either, and I didn't even make any notes on here, and that's probably because EU looks to be kind of an indecision type of situation. Let's go to the weekly and see. I can already see it. Like I don't even have to squeeze out of it. And this is the thing, like once you get to a point where you've seen the market a lot, you've been paying attention to the market, you kind of know its routines, you know the things that it does on a regular basis, you'll start to see things. So like even in the weekly, like this is an indecision. Hit it on the downside. We don't know if this is going to reverse. We just know it's an indecision. This could mean anything from a bullish, bearish, or a consolidation situation. So on the weekly, that's basically what I'm seeing. However, I did make a previous note, and until we can see price get past this previous note that I had made before I started the video, this was the next prevalent place that I could see the price could go if we are still headed in a bullish situation. If I don't see price get up here past this last lower high, then we're still headed in a bearish direction, and this could potentially just simply be a pullback. Let me go ahead and squeeze this up real quick, and maybe it'll make a little more sense once we're a little bit closer. So yeah, essentially this could possibly be just a simple pullback, this right here, where we're seeing. Let me, instead of just explaining, let me just make it a little bit bigger here, like right here. So this area could simply just be a pullback. It may just be that. It may not be anything. We may not even see it go past this place, because you could see that price took a very decent dip. We'll just have to wait and give price an amount of time to see exactly what's going to happen, and if it's able to get kind of past here after it has decided to finish up this indecision that we're kind of seeing on the weekly. Let's jump down to the daily. Down to the daily, kind of the same thing. Like, I mean, this candlestick right here, this is almost giving very much like reversal, like a pin bar, like a bullish or a bearish bullish pin bar here, sitting here, right here. So price is kind of rejecting to the downside here, which could essentially mean just simply a pullback. That's why it's important to wait for the pullback before you actually make the move. So we'll just have to wait to see exactly what price is going to do once this next week completes, and then we'll go from there. Let's check on the 4 hour. Maybe if I take this off, this will be a little less difficult. Okay, so let's make a little bit of a mark. I'm gonna need to see price get to like in order for it to be considered as a continuation, I honestly, for it to be safe, before here. So let me scoot over. Sorry, I was going to make a circle, but I realized that I have the trend line. So until, oops, there we go. So until price kind of gets past this space that was previously at, then I will believe that it is a change in direction. But until then, this was very indecisive for me, and I was unable to decide on EU. Even going back to just the weekly, let's see. This could easily be a pullback, especially looking at previous price and where it was right here. This could very easily be a pullback. So we'll just have to wait. This is another one of waiting. A lot of trading is sitting on your hands. So let's just jump over to UJ and see exactly what UJ has going on. UJ actually has a pretty strong pull to the upside on the weekly. However, because it doesn't have much history based upon what has previously happened in the crazy upswing that we had back in June, and I think it was even back in December of last year, 2022, that we were headed bullish. But with this one, it looks like it again. We could possibly be seeing a pullback. We're just gonna have to wait to see exactly what is going to happen with price. Let's actually jump down to the daily and take a deeper look. So it has not passed this higher low yet. So until it passes, or lower high rather, yet. So I'm sorry if I get those confused. I do apologize. If I'm thinking them, but maybe I'm saying them incorrectly. But I do believe that this is what looks like to be maybe just a simple pullback, kind of like was it EU? I do believe that was having the pullback. So same thing here. Until I can see it potentially get past here and maybe even get up to here, then I'll believe the price is actually changing direction and we are looking at more of a bullish direction. So I do not have a flag on this pair, and that's simply because I'm not 100% exactly sure what is going to happen. We did have a small upswing here, and then what appears to be a lower high or a lower low, I'm sorry, and then maybe it's forming another, oh my gosh, the brush tool. Okay, so like I was saying, this could potentially be the lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then essentially if it gets down to here and it's simply touching right here, you want it to kind of break at the neckline right here, and then we're looking at an extension up, then we'll be looking at an uptrend. But until then, we don't know. We're just going to have to wait. Again, we're just simply sitting on our hands to wait and see what happens. So on GU, let's jump out on the weekly because we're starting a new week. This is kind of the same thing. I feel like we're going to be probably seeing some more consolidation now, or some indecision, because that's essentially how the last 2 weeks have completed. So, which is not a bad thing. Consolidation is not always the best thing to have when it comes down to what we see immediately. But essentially what that means is that price is going to, I don't want to say, you kind of run out of steam. So what's happening now is we're running out of steam. And with the running out of steam, we're just waiting to see what price is going to do. It's kind of like a spring. If you have a spring and you pull that spring or push that spring together, so like say one of those little springs that you used to find in like the gumball machines. I don't know how old my audience is and how prevalent that is, but if you have a spring, like a small spring, and you push it together and it's like really confined, really close, really tight, and then you let it go and then it kind of explodes. That's kind of the same thing that happens with the market. If you find that there are little and smaller candles, price has lost its momentum, is slowing down a little bit just so that it can kind of catch its breath in a sense and then spring off when the time is right. So that's kind of another thing that was happening when price is consolidating or there is indecision. So let's jump down to the daily and see what we see, or see what we are able to figure out with the daily. Kind of the same thing, like unless I see some type of movement above here, which is kind of knocking out that previous, let me grab this, that previous pattern, You see how it's doing this? If it keeps doing this, then that is just consolidation. Once I see price get past this place, then in a close, then I know that price is changing direction and we're headed in the upswing. Until then, we're literally just sitting in some type of consolidation. We may not see a change, and we'll just have to wait to see. I should have kept that. We'll just have to wait to see what happens when price gets below this area. So literally, trading is simply just a waiting game, just being patient, sitting on your hands, waiting for the best moment to actually get in so you don't lose any of the capital that you do currently have, because essentially that's what we're trying to do, is keep it our capital. So I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, any concerns, I hope that you like. I hope that you subscribe. And for those that do trade that are around you, I hope that you share. And I hope that this is helpful. Get after it.